Advocates say new laws aimed at LGBTQ plus North Dakotans are driving some families out of the state. Some experts say the exodus really started several years ago, sending North Dakota in a direction that makes some people feel unsafe.
It also comes with some alarming statistics concerning suicide rates with our youth. WDAY News reporter Nick Broadway talked to a woman who spent years tracking the data. And here's from the family of a trans child who says despite the new laws, they're staying put.
We did talk a lot about moving, possibly fleeing the state because of all of it.
The Dolney family spent much of this year tracking the legislative session in Bismarck. New laws like having school staff notify parents when a student comes out, not recognizing preferred pronouns, and banning trans-related health care for minors. This directly impacts Devin Donnelly's son, Tate.
Like, I have puberty blockers. We just had to drive all the way to Minnesota to get it because we can't get it here anymore. So it's a lot of kind of like figuring out what we should do if kind of like those things get passed.
People in Bismarck, and I know in Minot and Williston, have been affected by it, and it's a lot more difficult for them.
This directly impacts Devin Dolney's son, Tate.
I've been called the one F word. A lot of times, like just randomly in the hallways, probably almost close to every day. I do have a lot of friends though, so that's good, but some of the students just like randomly in the hallways aren't as nice as like my teachers.
You might have seen Devin and their son openly advocating for their rights at the state capitol.
And I want every other kid in North Dakota to have the same chance I've had to live their lives as they truly are.
In the background of the politics, healthcare consultant Faye Seidler is working with schools and counselors to collect data about North Dakota's LGBTQ youth.
It's worse across everything you can measure. So they're getting bullied at twice the frequency of straight students. They are experiencing homelessness or getting kicked out of the home at 2 to 3 times the rate of our straight students. So if you don't collect that data and you're not observing it, then it's hard to actually address it in any meaningful way.
The stats collected by Seidler and verified by a third party are shocking. Of the LGBTQ plus students they surveyed in North Dakota, about half say they've seriously considered suicide at some point. Their data counts just over 20,000 total LGBTQ plus students in North Dakota. Seidler says if you were to crunch those numbers with the more than 100,000 students in the state, that means roughly 10,000 students have contemplated suicide. There are resources to help queer students and their families, like Project Ray.
Just being honest with our kids and ensuring that they know that they're never going to be alone.
Kristen Nelson works with families like the Donleys to help find resources in town and advocates for the rights of LGBTQ youth.
There were some really good champions on both sides of the aisle, so we were really pleased to see that, and I think those champions helped mitigate some really nasty bills.
Her group is among a long list of resources in town listed on Seidler's website.
When I look at the outcome and impact of this, I'm always looking at it through a lens of safety and accessibility. How do we make sure these kids feel safe and feel secure enough to talk to us about some of these things so we can get them help? Whether they be trans or cis, whether they be straight or gay, just do our kids feel safe to get the help that they need?
She's noticed as state lawmakers create new laws aimed at LGBTQ youth, mental health resources are not added.
It's unfortunate that they are getting medically necessary care reduced without there being anything in place to help them.
The new laws shed light on families talking about leaving the state. But Seidler says the exodus has been going on since 2015, when the State House voted down an LGBTQ discrimination bill. Though many are holding out hope, not letting laws drive them out. The Dolneys plan on staying in Fargo.
And I have so many friends that I've made and I've had for so long. And it would just be really, I would not like it at all if I had to just go and move and not be able to see them anymore.
We want to stay as long as we can and try to push back as much as we can. Because, you know, born and raised, both my husband and I, in North Dakota, and it's our home. We want to stay here.
They're carrying on a battle for human rights, hoping to make home better for people like them. Nick Broadway, WDAY News.
And Seidler says there are resources for North Dakota's LGBTQ plus population. She lists them on her social media pages and website. We'll have a link to those with this story on our website, inforum.com.